So one question I've been asking myself lately is African spirituality self-sabotage? Is it somehow contributing to us being stagnant as Africans? And I think it is self-sabotage. And I'm gonna explain why. Right? On this episode, I'm gonna explain why I think African spirituality is self-sabotage. Right? So before we get there, please do me a favor, subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you comment if you have to, and yeah, let's get on with it. Those who follow African spirituality justify it as African spirituality is spirituality and is not religion. But let us first explore one thing. What is religion? Now, religion is the belief in and worship of a superpower or superpowers, or even a god or gods. Religion is a set of beliefs. We believe in Jesus Christ, we believe in God. You believe in your ancestors. We believe that Christ can change our situations. Christ can save us. Christ can heal us. You also believe that your ancestors can change your situations. Your ancestors can protect you, which makes it a religion. Just like Hinduism, just like Islam, just like what else? Just like Christianity, just like Buddhism, African spirituality is also a religion. Another famous thing they love to say is that African spirituality is here to liberate us. But let's think about liberation. What is liberation? Liberation is setting somebody free from imprisonment or oppression. When we look at Jesus Christ, I'm Christian, so I'm going to make an example of Jesus Christ. What does he save me from? All right, what does he liberate me from? He liberates me from the law of sin and death, meaning that when I'm in Christ, sin has no power over me, right? Some things that I could not quit, I'm able to quit them through Christ. If I accept Christ and I have a relationship with him, whether I had a sex addiction, pornography addiction, or whatever, I'm able to quit that through Christ. But what is liberation in African spirituality? Because you go there by the mentality that you have escaped that which Europeans have presented to you, which is a lie, by the way. We are taking our African belief system. Now, here's the truth. When you get there, you are going to slaughter and slaughter and slaughter. These familiar spirits are going to want and want and want from you. It's like they take and take from you, right? Another thing is that when you have an ancestral calling, you are bound to leave what you are doing. Like you are bound to buy gold and everything. And if you do not obey them, they make you sick. What have you been freed from there? Because you are going right towards oppression. You're not being freed from oppression, but you're going towards oppression. So I would wake up with consistent headaches. And the first thing you have to tell me is that I have to slaughter a goat. If I do not want to slaughter a goat, you are not going to heal me. Am I really liberated there?
I started praying to shrines because I thought that was the right thing to do, reclaiming my roots, dressing in African apparel as we're supposed to do, bowing to African gods, believing in African gods. Completely abandoning who I knew myself to be, because in America, they tell us that we are no people, that we don't know ourselves. We're just these slaves that, we don't know nothing, and we have to come back to Africa to find ourselves.
I want you to notice one thing. When the serpent went to the woman in a garden, he used one thing, identity. In order to convince Eve to eat from the tree, he used identity. That's why he said something like, if you eat from this tree, your eyes are going to be open and you're going to be like God. He used identity. That is the same tactic he used on Matthew 4, when he went to Jesus Christ. When he got there, he was like, if you are the Son of God, turn the stones into bread. Even today, he's still using identity as his number one weapon. Which is why today you have men identifying as women, women identifying as men, human beings identifying as animals. You have people, black people, serving familiar spirits, marine spirits, and whatever spirit in the name of I'm a black person, I'm African. Now, most people will tell you that African spirituality is who we are. You can see that the element of identity that the enemy uses, right? Which is why the Bible tells us to seek first the kingdom. Because of when you seek the kingdom, when you find Christ, you find yourself. Mind you, when God was creating this earth, plants came from the soil, fish and whatever came from the water, but you came from God. He did not command soil to make a human being. He did not command plants to make a human being. But he sat down and said, let us create a man in our own image. When you find Christ, you find yourself. That's where your identity is.
This American that led me there had never been there, is a leader for many that are going to those same shrines that I was going to. This American that led me to where I went and found my demise also led so many other Americans here to Ghana, to the shrines, to pray, to get divinations, to correct their illnesses, to be healed of this and that, to find money, to bring their families together. All this and that, all of it is temporary. All of it is a scam. I was living with devils.
So on one of my videos, somebody commented and said, African spirituality is what we know, right? But the truth is, that's a lie. That's a lie. Because if they knew, they would not be chasing this thing. Right. Now notice how she says that the person who sent them to Ghana is a person who has never been there. How are you a leader who's leading people into something that you've never done before? Now, the reason I'm going to stand here and say Jesus Christ is Lord is because of I have seen him in my life. Now, most people who are into African spirituality, they are still angry at the white people. That's why in one of our episodes, we said that African spirituality is more of a reaction, a colonization reaction. So most of these people are people who do not like white people. Most of these people are people who are angry at things like colonization and apartheid and whatever thing that white people did. So it's not that they know what they are chasing. They do not. Because of it, if they did know the truth, because they say it's the central truth, what. You know their terms. If they did know the truth about what they are serving and these spirits, there would not be denial.
Total abandonment of self, total abandonment of everything I knew myself to be for shrines, for a spiritual system that's not even helping the African people. So if you ever wonder, like, why is there underdevelopment in some areas? Why is the thinking like this? Why is that Africa need to get it together? Africa, they need to get united. If you want to know why it hasn't happened yet, I am sharing with you why.
African belief systems that do not build harmony, African belief systems that do not impact us as individuals, as human beings, it continues to contribute to crime. Now, it's no secret that hitmen have to go to a traditional healer to be empowered. It's no secret that those who are into heist, cash in transit, they go to sangomas. There are rituals that are made with human body parts. So at some point, you've got kidnapping and abduction that is happening. And African beliefs are contributing to that. You have witchcraft. There's something I like to say to my colleagues at work, that if black people were clever and this belief system of theirs was useful, why are they not bewitching white people to empower us more than they are empowering themselves? I'm not saying it's right, but if really this thing could work, for us, right? Mind you, when you go to the Bible, you'll see God working in the favor of the Israelites most of the time. Why? Because of their God is powerful. God gave them all the land. God gave them all the gold when they left Egypt. Why? God was working on their favor. Now, you are claiming that your ancestors are working on your favor, but they are not giving you the wealth that white people have. Oh. Now, while Christianity encourages hard work, that he who does not work will never eat. White people are where they are because they work. White, even though they used evil tactics to take your land and whatnot, but they made it work. Now you have black people who came into power and they stole from fellow black people. Right now, South Africa is a sinking ship. Why? A black person stole from a black person, not a white person. Mind you, you were given a country that's functioning in 1994. So we won't turn a blind eye and say, no, it's because of apartheid. No, we are not where we are because of colonization and apartheid. We are where we are because of you have greedy black people in power. It does not matter if a white person is behind the scenes. The fact that this black person agreed to take money from this white person, this black person is greedy. If they thought about the future of this country and the future of this continent, they would not be greedy. But they thought, yeah, I could take this money and go enrich Dubai. We're not saying that white people are right? At some point, white people, yes, did something which is wrong. But if you can check how it's working for them, it's working. They stole money, they stole your land, they did that. But they did this and that. But it's working for their kind. Black people came through. They were in office. 30 years of democracy. But what did they do? They took money, go and enrich countries like Dubai. It was better if they enriched South Africa and Africa. But you know what they did? They opened companies in Dubai. And then we blame who? Christianity. Mind you, biblical principles are against whatever that was done in order to keep a black person down. Whether it was done by a white person or a black person, biblical principles are against all that. This greed that we are seeing, the killing of people that we see, biblical principles are against that. But guess who agrees with that? Your ancestors. Your ancestors do not mind empowering a person to go shoot another person because of he was promised 50,000. I remember I once saw this story that there's a guy who was shot by the police in KZN, and then his gun, like you could see his gun went through a ritual. His gun went through a ritual because there was something that was tied around his gun to show that this gun should not miss. When I shoot, it should hit. Mind you, there are those who go to sangomas to be strengthened so that bullets cannot hit them. Now, the reason I would go to a sangoma so that bullets cannot hit me is because of I want to do something that will cause people to shoot me. So, logic tells you African spirituality is demonic. I'm even putting it wrong when I say your ancestors, because these things are not your ancestors. These things that you are praying to are not your ancestors. They are demons. Your ancestors are sleeping peacefully. You are busy talking to familiar spirits, and marine spirits. And they do not love you. No. So there is no liberation here. And this is not who you are. This is not what you know.
South Africa is going nowhere. And guess what? Black people are to blame. We all know what apartheid did. We know what colonialism did. We know its effects and its ripple effects. But this is not about that. This is about you, the problem. One of the problems that we have is our traditional beliefs, our African religious beliefs and customs that are dragging this country down and holding it back. I'll make an example. Instead of being a hard worker at work, arriving early, being innovative, you are going to go to a sangoma to get muti so that you can get favor from your boss. There you arrive in the office earlier than everyone else. How poor pedi poikin nafer. How poor pedi poikin nafer. How poor pedi poikin nafer, and so on. Spreading muti in your workplace to get favor from your boss. And when other people are favored, you get jealous. You run to the sangoma. You are not considering that they are innovative, they are working hard, they are punctual, they've got good values. Now you are going to bewitch them. Okay. Your lover leaves you because you are a terrible human being. You are toxic. You run to a sangoma. I need muti to bring my lover back. Instead of changing your terrible character and trying to be a good man or a good woman, you are going to go to a sangoma. Okay. You impregnate a girl. You are not married to her. You deny that child. Go on. Just like 65% of South Africans. This child grows up stunted. They didn't get the right development. They didn't do well at school. They are struggling to get a job. And what do? Sangoma. What does the sangoma say? You've got to go find your father so that he can introduce you to your ancestors. There is a ritual that must be done for your things to go well. Your ancestors have closed the door for you. Hey. Ancestors who are supposed to be punishing the man that ran away from his child are punishing the innocent child? Yeah? How does this even make sense? See, it is things like these that are perpetuating the troubles that we have in South Africa. If we don't walk away from these things, we are going to be forever stuck as a country.
So imagine if this is a system, a belief system, that we believe that it is gonna take this world somewhere. It does not build characters. It encourages shortcuts. We believe that we can get rich quickly. There is no hard work. It does not encourage unity. I don't want this. I do not want this. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, and yeah. Don't forget to hit the bell so that you can be notified every time we drop an episode. And yeah. Till the next time, I say God bless.